Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, we have parts. We've got parts. So, we've got parts to rebuild the fuel pump, master cylinders, spark plugs, freeze plugs, in case, my super duper fix doesn't hold for some reason, which it will. We'll be fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We got some brake clutch fluid, some odds and ends, new fan belt that we'll just save until the old one breaks. Hey, I found the little bracket that holds the starter cable from slipping around back and forth on the starter switch. So, yes, awesome. All right, well, I think I'm going to start with the fuel pump. So, let's see if we can get that thing off of here, tear it down, and see if maybe we can get it back together. And it works. Let's find out. Okay, so what we got to do is we got to disconnect this fuel line from the carburetor, disconnect this fuel line that goes to the tank. There's 2 bolts that bolt the fuel pump to the engine block, and then we should be out. Let's see how this goes. All right. Nope. Okay, cool. Let's see here. I really wonder what this thing looks like inside, since we've seen how other parts have looked. It'll be interesting. I bet it's not that bad because it has been working, sorta. Oh, those are not bolts. There must be studs on the engine block, and then just nuts on that. Well, what's really going on here? Didn't even drop it. All right. Okay, come on. Washer. Don't be like that. There we go. There it is. There it is. All right. Let's tear into this thing and see what we got. Okay, I'm gonna just spritz this thing with some carb cleaner and get the heavy gunk off out of the way so we don't have to deal with that. All right, that's better. It's not super clean, but at least we can kind of see what we're working on now. Good deal. Okay, see what kind of damage we can do here. The service manual wisely recommends that you mark this top portion and the bottom portion of the fuel pump so that when you go to reassemble it, you get those back together correctly. So any kind of Sharpie or pin or anything like that, I'm going to wash these parts again probably. So probably just wash it away. So I just scored it with a screwdriver, you know, scratched it all up, and hopefully that is still there when we go to put it back together. All right, let's get this off of here. I'm going to leave this line on here for now. I don't want to take apart a seal that doesn't leak right now that I don't really need to. So I'm just going to leave that for now. May change my mind, you know. Kind of fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy, and we'll figure it out as we go. There's the cap. We've seen all this numerous times. Dumping gas out of here. Very nice. Just dump that all over the table. It needs to be cleaned. Okay. Let's do this. Oh, now we're legit. Now we look. Oh, that's kind of dirty inside. Wonder if you guys can see that. See all that gunk in there? Down on this side? Yep, that needs to be cleaned out for sure. All right. From what I can tell, if this car is still 100% original as far as the fuel system, which I believe it is, there is no fuel filter. There is a screen on the pickup tube, as we saw when we dropped the tank, and there's a screen in the fuel pump. And that's it. No inline filter or anything that I've seen. So that's a little different. But this is, I believe, the original fuel pump, Type U, made in England. So that's cool. All right, let's see here. I'm just going to wing it and start pulling it apart. We'll see what we get into here. Okay. What's major malfunction here? All right. You can see that from here. That's what that looks like on the bottom side of that. And here's your diaphragm, I believe it's called. That really doesn't look bad. Genuine AC. I believe you turn this just like that. And that just, it doesn't look as bad as I expected. I don't know. Is this thing... Well, too far in now. Spring. Does this come with a new spring? Nope. Reuse that. Okay. Now what happens? Does this come out of here? No. Does not. Okay. Well, not a whole lot to that. let's open up the kit and see what's in there and what we got to do. New diaphragm. Okay. Looks like we have new pieces like this. How do you get those out? Good question. Where does this other gasket go? Or are there different sizes? This is kind of a universal kit, I believe, for all the years, maybe. And so it's got two different gaskets for where you bolt it up to the engine block, because I believe at some point that part changed a little bit. But yeah, new O-ring for that. Okay, let's see here. Looks about right. That's quite a bit softer. Now that this is drying, it's starting to separate a little bit completely. That's a 2-piece deal. 3-piece. Yeah, maybe that is a little toasted. This looks like a much better quality deal. Okay. Got some O-rings there. O-ring. O-ring. Yeah, those are a little bit different size. So I assume, yeah, that's for this one. These, though, how in the world do we get the old ones out? Multiple gaskets here. So the valves, so these are for these. This says that the original ones are a paper gasket, and they're replacing that with an O-ring that will fit and seal much better. Cool. Well, I am not sure. Does this tell me? This does not tell me. So what am I supposed to do? Do they screw in there? How do those go in? I'm going to look that up, see if I can figure out how that's supposed to happen. Looks to me like they just press in there. These are both the same. These look a little different. Man, I don't want to jack these up and then not be able to get them out. I'll be back. Okay, guys, here's what I've got figured out. I found something online from a supply house for Metropolitan parts, and they state with their fuel pump rebuild kit that if your fuel pump has press-in check valves, you cannot replace those, which makes sense because what they do, they put the check valve in and then they hammer these little divots around it to shift the metal over it to hold that check valve in there. So there's no good way to pull those out without destroying them. And there's probably no good way to get the new ones in. I don't know what the other type look like, but here's what I've decided at this point. I don't want to try to get those out, destroy them. Well, I could get them out. If I really wanted to, I could get them out by destroying them. But then, what if I can't get the new ones in there and get them to stay? So, what I'm going to do, I've tested these check valves. They seem decent. They seem like they're working. All the parts are there. They're opening and closing. So I'm going to clean this as good as I can. And then I'm going to put the new diaphragm in. And what else? O-ring. This thing, as it's drying out, it is a little crusty, but it's not torn or ripped or anything. Probably not that bad. This one is definitely, I think, better. But I'm going to leave the check valves that are in here, hope for the best, replace the parts that I can, clean it out as well as I can first, and then put it back in the car and see how it works. And if it doesn't work, then I will just have to order a different fuel pump. At that point, once I get the different fuel pump, if that's the way we go, then maybe I'll experiment with this one at that point and see if I can pull those check valves out and get these new ones in, because then I don't have to rely on it. But I don't want to destroy this and then have to order another fuel pump and wait on that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm going to clean this out as good as I can. I'm going to clean this out as good as I can. And then we're going to slap it back together and put it back in the car and see what happens. There's only one way to find out, you know. Well, there's probably two ways. Research it online, which info for these cars, technical stuff like this is really, really difficult to find. A lot of guys are working on it, but they're just not really putting the info online or YouTube. And so that's what we're doing. But yeah, so let's get this cleaned up and slap it back together and see what happens. Okay. I broke down and asked the dumb question in a Facebook group, and the kind gentleman told me, which as soon as I read it, it made sense, but he says, yes, these are replaceable. All you got to do is get rid of those, he called it pare back those little divots, pull the old one out, pop the new one in, and then recreate the divots or whatever you want to call those to hold them in. Said they should be fairly snug anyway. This thing's fairly easy to take off and work on, and I have checked these check valves just multiple times against these, the pressure and everything. These seem fine. So like I said, I'm just gonna replace the diaphragm, gaskets, put it back in the car and see what happens. And worst case, we still have the option to pull it back out and attempt to replace those. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so this is all cleaned up inside. Looking good. So this, they say to assemble pump and reverse. To assemble the diaphragm, insert spring and depress diaphragm with tab 120 degrees to right of engine. That doesn't make sense because until notches in, it says to go 120 degrees from to the right of the engine. Oh, okay. So 120 degrees this way which would be to the right of the engine mounting flange, and then rotate anti-clockwise. Instead of counterclockwise, it's anti-clockwise 90 degrees to lock pull rod in lever link. So set it up here with the tab here, and then rotate it 90 degrees, and you'll end up like this, and it should be locked in. Let us see how that works out for us. So first, you need a spring. Okay. Then jam this in. Make sure that spring is inside there. Okay. Let's okay. Nope. First attempt failed. That feels like it went in. Well, what's going on here? Feels like it's kinda in there. Not good enough. I don't understand. Is it locked in? Works, but it's not. And it seems like that ain't right. It's locked in though. This isn't going the way I planned. What do we do now? I mean, it ain't coming out. That ain't right. That is not right. It's all... See how it's not straight? There's no way that's right. Is there? Okay. Alright. Let me find this thing. Oh, I'm going 180 degrees. I'm not that bright, man. That should be good. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm going to call that good. So that's in. Slap this thing back on. Which way did this go? This should go this way. Like this. Where are my scratches? Right there. Just like that. That makes no sense at all. That was lined up like that? How? There's a screw hole right there. Oh. That is not a screw hole. A little bit different. Wow. So the screw holes in the gasket in relation to this are right in line with it. And these, sorry, on this one, they're right in line with it. These are not. This spin at all? Nope. No way. Well, that sucks. Because, that's like that. Well, that's pretty close. Hold on. No. It's pretty close. It's exactly how it was right there. Will it hold? Let's find out. Yeah. Really planned on this being easier than this. You know? Okay. And then this will go. Nope. Right there. Right there. There we go. It's pumping. Cool. That sounds encouraging. Sure does. long as those check valves are good. This gets the screen. Right there. Then we need new gasket on this. Right here. And the bolt. Well, there's that. Okay. Let's see if we can get this thing back together and hope for the best. Gasket first. Fuel pump second. Let's see, how is this gonna go? Okay. You feel like that's right? No other way, really. Hardware, we need hardware. Perfect. Excellent. Lock washer. These nuts look like... no, never mind. Disregard. Interesting because, man, kind of think this fuel pump's been replaced now. Because what's weird is these nuts have green paint on them. So do the washers. Like they had a fuel pump on there and then painted the engine. Maybe they put a block off plate on there, painted it, then put the fuel pump on. I don't know. But that's interesting. How do you get this in here? Kind of like that. How do you get this on? What do you got to pull the engine to do this? Okay, hold on. Second drop. Let's try this again. Oh boy. Did I do it? I think I did it. Yep. Sweet. The washer fall off of that? Wasn't there a washer on that? You guys paying attention? I don't see one. Found it. Found it, guys. Found it. Crisis averted. Okay. Okay. That should be good. Can we get her to pump fuel? Some guys are saying they pump this thing like 100 times to get fuel up. I don't think I've tried it that many times. Is that 100 yet? Were you counting? I wasn't counting. Okay, too impatient. Hold on. I don't think we're pumping anything yet. Okay, it's holding fuel. It's holding the gasoline. Oh yeah, she's a pumping. Oh yeah, big time. Big time pumping. Okay. Well, let's tie this back in. Let's see what it does. It's in gear. Hold on. Everything's fine. We're fine. Well, here's the deal, guys. So the battery went dead on me. So while I was waiting for that to charge back up, I went ahead and started on some other tasks that will be coming up in the next video. But I just came out here and I was like, yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. You know, the car's sat for a couple days now. And I gave it no gas, pulled the choke out about where it needed to be, cranked it over, and this thing fired up way, way easier than it has been. So that's awesome. That is great. I'm pumped about that. Let's see how it starts up right now. Awesome. I love it. Cool. Well, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hope this helps somebody, or you at least enjoy watching it. And I sure enjoy doing it, figuring this stuff out. Getting closer, a little bit closer to driving this thing. So, thank you guys again so much for watching the videos. And if you're not subscribed and you'd like to subscribe, that would really help me out a ton. That'd be great. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.